lead after the dressage on 95.4, close behind Team Germany, Switzerland third and Italy in fourth. But it can all change out there on the cross country, and what a test once again it will be. The scene very much set, the weather conditions 22 degrees, light breeze as we've had for the last couple of days in Avenches. It is a perfect day, a perfect afternoon for cross country. The crowds have been settling in around the course all the way around. It's a great course to view and one of the best tracks to view from the grandstand that you can see up front and centre stage there on your screens. Running around this track, they have driving races around this track. It's used for all sorts of things, and a beautiful venue, a beautiful place, and we are looking forward to the action. Ground conditions nigh on perfect, and we can't wait to get underway. First horse out at 1 o'clock, so in just about 2.5 minutes time, and that will be Susanna Bordoni with Imperial von der Hultdakers lying in 12th on 33.1. But the leader after dressage, well, that was the man from France, Maxime Livio, produced a brilliant test. This is the start list. Susanna Bordoni, Nadia Minder, second out for Switzerland. And then we get down into those team riders later in the start list. Cornelia Dorr, the only rider from the USA, Daytona Beach. Vietdana from Switzerland, London Blue. Louisa Palli, Marie-Rose. And then Louisa, well, she is the first team rider. Not quite sure what's gone on with the graphic there, but then we go down even further. 36 combinations coming forward. Sébastien Cavagnon, Ellipso de la Vigne, lovely horse. And then you can see the last three. It wasn't the greatest graphic, so I apologise about that, but you'll follow me, you'll be with me all the way, I hope. There is our first to go, Susanna Bordoni and Imperial von der Hultdakers. Nervous moments down there out on this track. So Susanna, very experienced, great to have her out first. Just going to try and work out that distance if I can. The optimum time, I think, is 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And I think the distance will be 3,454 metres, with them travelling on average 570 metres per minute. And we will get a good chance to have a look around this course, the long routes, the black flag alternatives. It's a long old way round, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And unfortunately, we've not had a chance to walk it, not being there, so it will be feel as we go. So what you see is literally what I will see for the first time. But certainly looking very relaxed down at the start. 14-year-old Belgian Warmblood by Quidam de Revel. The Damsar Argentinus, owned by Maria Giovanni Mazzocchi. Starting, as I said, on that score, 33.1 in 12th place. There's our second to go, Nadia Minder for Switzerland with Kabuga, Supermare. I think Susanna about to, there it is, 20 seconds on the clock, countdown. They will give her the 10, and then the 5, 4, 3. That's when the butterflies really start going. These horses looking super fit. 7, 6, 5, 4. Away we go then. The first on the cross-country course, Susanna Bordoni, 33.1 in 12th place. Imperial von der Hultdakers coming to the first, the Avenches box. It's got Avenches spelt out in fruit and vegetables. And it's an interesting course, an interesting track, because they meander their way up and down, backwards and forwards. It's a lovely big hedge too. It's quite an open hedge to get these horses jumping up in their rhythm. The milk churns at 3. And they come up quite quickly, don't they? And then it is on. I think it's the first combination fence at 4, as it was for the... In fact, it is just a single fence, is it? Then closely related, this is going to be the brush, 2, 3, 4, over that hedge, and then turn to a brush shoulder. That was really nicely done. That will give a lot of the riders a lot of confidence. There was a corner there in the European Championships, it's just a brush shoulder, crossing over the race course proper, and then it gets quite hilly. You can see where she's been crossing over, where they do the driving and they do the training. It's an institute equestrian that is in full use, so very much getting good use of it. So the rails down to the bullnose arrowhead at 6A and B. Again, that black flag alternative possible. That was over the first a few moments ago. We catch up with her then at the second. Slow-mo pictures at the second. And at the third. Quite like to see her go through that combination fence again. I'm hoping we will see that over the combination fence. And this is it. So the brush, Oxa, 1, 2, 3, 4 to that angled hedge, big drop on landing. Susanna just pecks a little bit and then holds a line to the shoulder. It's quite a, I think, quite a nice, from this angle, it looks like quite a nice angle on that brush. There is Anna Katarina Vogel and DSP Quintana P. Another mare, 15-year-old by quality 9. And she'd be our third combination. Just get there at the start is Nadia Minder for Switzerland. These are the first four team members. In fact, we go these guys, and then we have the individual riders. Then we go with the second rotation. I think I said earlier, Luisa Pali will be the second rotation of team riders. She's 10th out. Still clear is our trailblazer, Susanna Bordoni, and Imperial von der Holtakas, as Anna Katarina Vogel leaves the... Nadia Minder leaves the start box. Nadia on a score of 45 in 34th place after the first phase. Kabuga by Big Shuffle, and owned by Nadia herself. So Kabuga, this mare, 16 years old, coming down to the nice brush. So like a laurel brush hedge, lovely to brush the top of that, getting some real air. Down to the third, the milk churn bar. Another single fence. Before then they come to the 3 fences. They're closely related. It's going to be 5 ABC. Is it a 5 ABC? It must be a 5 ABC because it's 6 AB. 2, 3, 4, 5. Goes right to the left-hand side of that. And you can, I mean, this is where we'll see quite a lot of interesting riding, where they go middle, they'll go left, depending on what they've walked, what their team orders are, and how their horses jump it better. Just because it walks on 4 and 5 and 6, and we're going to see it jumped on all of them, it depends really on what your horse prefers and how your horse reacts. Nadia Minder coming down the back, putting a little bit of a kink in, a little bit of a curve in to jump that B element. As we go back to Susanna Bordoni, and she's up to, I think, now the 14th, crossing back over the crossing. She's such a stylish rider. She's a good stride to the white rails, that white railed Oxa. And then it is a turn back to the water. I think we're at the water. Yep. That was a good guess, and remembering where that fence was from the European Championships last year in September, August, September. This is the right-hand turn. Course designer, Mike Etherington Smith. And then they gallop their way back towards home. There's a very big Tracana ditch with a log over. In fact, it's a bar. That is it. And then they make a quick turn back to what is a slightly reminiscent fence of the Vicarage ditch at badminton. That is it. There's a corner over a ditch. It's a very big fence. Well remembered again, Spencer. Um, and then we come back to, I think we're going to come back to the water again. There's no course maps, there's no nothing. I'm afraid there's an idea. We do go back to the water. Fence in the water, the blue and white striped fence, and out over the arrowheads. So this is a great round from Susanna Bordoni and Imperial Fontahotakas. They jump that bar and disappear over the tracks, over the race course, making their way round this course towards home. It's been lovely to watch, and Imperial Fontahotakas has given her a super ride, and safely home. Be interesting to get her time just as soon as we can. It was definitely a clear jumping, so brilliant. I can tell you Anna-Katharina Vogel is also out on course now with DSP Quintana P for Germany. We go back up course to Narjiminda and Kabuga. There's some really lovely galloping parts on this track, and it's to get the horses confidence, to give them that energy and that confidence that they need with these riders. You know, you give them a little bit of an intense part. There's a lovely part of the track which we haven't seen yet. I don't know whether we're going to see it, whether they've got cameras out there. A big log on the top of the bank coming down to a corner, and that's had a lot of people scratching their heads at the European Championships. It's in the track. I don't know if there's cameras out there. It's quite a long way out on the course, coming to the white rails and then back to this water in Kabuga, Narjiminda. Two fences, these angled brush top houses going in with on the two strides, landing in the water, picking up. This is a game mare, isn't she? She just is like, right, yep, mum, there it is, got the fences in my eyes, in my sight. We were talking about where your eyes go in a shoulder in and in a lateral movement when you're riding a dressage test, as we have yesterday and the day before. And it's exactly what we train the horses to do. She's come on the real inside line to that angled house. You know, when we ride cross country, we look between the horse's ears. The horse's ears are between the flags, and that is where we hope that they're going to go. It doesn't always happen. They do find doors at that big open ditch. I'd just like to have seen a little bit more control coming into that fence, but she jumped it really nicely. Ooh, yeah, and that is the risk that you run, unfortunately, because of the way that horse jumped the open ditch. She slightly lost a nerve, and then even more at that fence. You've got to keep the confidence. We say about putting money in the bank, given the odd fiver. I think she gave a couple of £100 there just to really help her out. But she's a really feisty man, and she's really giving her all out around this course. So the time for our first to go, 6 minutes 28, 8.8 time for Susanna Bordoni and Demiria van der Hoogtakas. They complete on 41.9, 6:06. Whoa! That is a risk you don't want to take at the last. Narjiminda got away with it. Yeah, you may well look back as well. 6 minutes 13 seconds, goes into second place. Narjiminda just a few seconds over, but that is a chance you do not want to take at the final fence. Well, away from the start box is our third out, DSP Quintana P, Anna-Katharina Vogel for Germany. 32.6 dressage, left them in 10th place as they come down to the second and making their way onto the Milcham bar at 3, and then as they pick up their line, there's 4 fences, then that fence 5, which is the 5 ABC. Interesting, you don't always see an ABC at fence, an early fence, but Mike obviously thought that was a good idea, and he's a fantastic course designer, designed all over the world. As they come down to that table bar fence, and the time in for 2.8 time for Narjiminda and Kabuga for Team Switzerland, as Anna-Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P cross over those gallop lanes and tracks to the white rails and then the water. And the water on the two strides, these two angled rails, and must make the turn and be very square. And jumped in there much better. I was a bit nervous of the little horse, this little mare, when she started out. She's 15 by quality 9, goes back to Landor S lines, owned by Karen and Anna Katharina Vogel. When she started off, the mare was a little bit nervous. She was a little bit stuttery off the floor, and I didn't know whether we were going to lose even more confidence as we went around the track. But actually, she's got better. She's got more confidence. She'll want a nice jump here because the telling in this jump is how you then jump the corner. That was a lovely bold jump. So that would fill me with confidence as a rider to come down to this ditch. And you saw the mare just look into the bottom and say, yep, got it. Understand completely what I'm doing. And a lovely jump in there. So they come onto the water for the final time. Slight rise uphill to this arrowhead, landing on the downhill, then runs through the water to the two fences, one on the exit, that arrowhead, and then gallops towards the last couple of fences out there on the course. 6 minutes and 6, not quite going to make the optimum time. Another one not quite going to make the time, but she is not going to be too far away again. But this is, I think, telltale. When we've seen these first riders out, they've taken a couple of risks. That is on a mim clip, that table at the last. Nearly needed it for Nadia Minter and Kabuka because they were very chancy. But Anna Katharina Vogel, 6 minutes 29 seconds. They complete on 41.8. DSP Quintana P, good round for her. Leaving the start box. Look like, yeah, it is Cyril Lefebvre, 33.7. This is a 12-year-old by Romando de Labaye, owned by Charlene Garin. They started on that dressage, 33.7 in 15th place. Big jumping horse, huge jump over the hedge in the middle part of 5. So galloping across the canter tracks, the canter lanes, whatever you want to call them, onto the white rails before the water. We must miss that loop out on the far side of the track, which is a shame because it's a great part of the course. It's really interesting to watch. Coming into the two angled houses, I think there's a lot of jumping out there actually that we don't see, unfortunately, but it is quite a long way away from the start as she comes round to the angled house. So I think we missed fences literally from 8 all the way through to probably that water, which is quite a long galloping stretch, because we now see them at fences, I think 19 and 20, and then the water. So that's 19. 20 is here at the ditch corner. Jumped very well at the European Championships, in all fairness, but you there at the Europeans had a higher class field of horses. I'm not saying that these aren't, because these guys are. But at the European Championships, you've got the creme de la creme, and this is a Nations Cup competition, so very high level as well, as they make their way to the second last at 22 of the 23 numbered fences. It is Cyril Lefebvre onto the final fence. And a good jump for them, punches the air, crosses the line. And Katharina Vogel for Germany, just getting her time in. Well, she was 9.26 minutes 29 seconds, completes on 41.8. For now, that is the leading score. This is our next Daytona Beach and Cornelia Dorr for the USA. This is a horse, 12 years old, by Duke of Hearts, coming down to the Laurel Hedge at 2 and the Milk Churn Bar at 3. Cornelia, hugely experienced. The only American rider in Avenches at this Nations Cup. You can see there that Daytona Beach was just looking a little bit suspicious of where he was supposed to be going, but Cornelia did a really good job in just holding the line and saying, the mare, said, where am I going, what am I doing? And Cornelia did a really good job in just saying, actually, wait a second, got you, hold on. So Cornelia Dor with Daytona Beach just continuing their way. They are now going to this angled house. Some have gone inside, some have gone outside already this morning, this afternoon. So as Cornelia Dor heads towards the back end of the course now with Daytona Beach. And they've been flying. They're just off that optimum time already. Daytona Beach and Cornelia Dor coming now onto the final fence. Horse that she rode at Houghton Hall in the Nations Cup. And jumps the final fence. Good round for the American. Not quite going to make that optimum time of 6 minutes 6. We'll try and get her time just as soon as we can, but good clear there. She completes on 48.1, goes into 4th place. Now leaving the start box, this is Julia Bithqueth for France. She rides Bryn d'Or des Sources, 11-year-old by Ramondo de l'Abbaye, owned by Beatrice and Patrick Umba. 48.5 dressage in 36th place, representing France, individual rider for France. It's a great round for a lot of the younger riders, and there's quite a few first-time 4-stars. She's gone far right. We've seen far right. We've seen far left. We've seen middle, and it'll all depend on experience. It'll all depend on bravery. It'll all depend on horse and rider. So again, I think that was a short while ago, because now we catch up with her having missed out that loop, then coming to the water. And just checking on the round, they are still clear as they come to the water. In over the first house, 2 strides, riding quite forward. She's again got quite a forward riding style, and you know, sometimes if they jump themselves into trouble, then that can run the risk of a run out, because you need to be in that safety position, and she has gone round there. So again, using her head, the experienced riders, some of them have come inside with the older horses. This is an 11-year-old, but with not that many miles on the clock. So it is 6 minutes and 6 seconds, the optimum time, and that is based on a meters per minute. That's an FEI rule. So they're traveling at 570 meters per minute, and that gives an optimum time of 6:06. So when they wheel the course, it will have wheeled at 3,454 meters. You then do multiplication, and that comes out with the optimum time. So 570 meters per minute at 4-star level. Then as you drop down the levels, it goes 550, 520, and so on. Kicking out the left-hand flag, the white flag, is Julie Withquet and Bryn de Source, and they come on to the final fence. Not far over the optimum time. She's ridden a good round, hasn't she? Matchy pink in her cross-country colours, pink bell boots, pink overreach boots. 58.5 goes into 6th place. Good round for her. You watch these young ones go rounds, and they would have had help, and this is what it's all about. It's a great sport, great camaraderie within the sport, and she would have asked fellow team riders. Well, this is now Francesco Eondio Bettero with Quality Cruiser. Quality Cruiser with a dressage score 37.0. Out over the first couple of fences. And the milk churn bar. Good bold jump there. You want those bold jumps at the first few. He is going to go slightly right of centre to make sure he gets his turn back. That gives the horses as much time then to see that fence and read the fence as humanly possible. And that's what you want to do. And it's all well and good being brave, but actually you want the horses to read the question. You don't really want to risk a run out at any level, riding, whether you're riding as an individual or riding as a team. So really riding what's underneath you, giving the horses confidence to get round and get the MERs, which are the minimum eligibility requirements, at the level. Sees a good stride, a forward stride to the white rails, and now comes back to the water. Quality Cruiser. Boldly in, holds his line to the angled house on the way out. So the question has been asked. There is a minimum a meters per minute range for each level. No, there is a meters per minute for each level that never changes. It is 570 for 4 and 5 star. It is 550 for 3 star and 520 for 2 star. That never changes. That is the speed. They can alter the time if they like. They can alter the distance if they like. But the speed and minutes per minute never, ever change. That never changes. It may have done years ago. I don't know, but it certainly hasn't. And I'm in my mid-40s now, and it's never changed as long as I've been eventing. Or in a run-out going into the water, there is a black flag alternative. But organisers, officials, it all comes down to the course designer. The course designer will talk to the officials, but and the ground jury members, but ultimately it's his job. It's his. That's why he's the course designer. But it never changes on meters per minute at speeds. They can alter it if they think that the ground conditions are appalling. That rarely happens. You try and put the emphasis in the riders' laps and say, look, common sense, use your heads, don't be silly. And there we just see coming home Francisco with Quality Cruiser. So 90.6, 20 jumping, and a few time penalties for the Italian. Down at the start, this is Lino Paparella, 35 dressage, Cooley Showtime. Cooley Showtime. 13-year-old by Chin Chin, owned by Lino Paparella. Well, you don't see it. They had a dressage score of 35. You can see there her score's gone to 55 because she had a run out at 9A. We don't see 9 right the way through to here somewhere. He had a run out. So there's a big loop that is missing on the cross country, like huge loop that is missing on the cross country. So we don't get to see those, unfortunately. So he has had the 20 penalties already at 9A. I'd love to tell you what 9A is. I suspect it is something to do with that log down to the corner. So jumping his way towards the open ditch and rail, and then it will be the slightly reminiscent Vicarage V from badminton. It's a big corner over a ditch, riding in 2 reins as well. It's got a lot of knitting to hold together, and he is taking the long route. It's a very, very long route. I think that's very sensible if he's had that run out, and I think that was at that corner at 9A, over on the far side of the course. So he then jumps over a trachena rather than the open ditch there and corner. It's a big, big fence. Now he's still got some accuracy questions still to jump, but the horse has been jumping the arrowheads quite well. Let's hope he jumps in here nicely. Yep, does. Now just hold your line, sit up and sit square, think about where you're going, don't go too open and free to that last part because then you risk the run out, and you don't want that when you're 2 from home. You really, really don't. So in and out of that final water. And stops the clock, so 87.4 it is there for Lino Paparelli and Cooley Showtime, just the 20 jumping and a few time faults. Away from the start, this is Bietdana for Switzerland with London Blue, 43.6 the dressage, lying in 33rd place after the first phase. 15-year-old by Londonderry. Goes back to Capriccio Lines, owned by Bietdana himself. Very experienced Swiss rider, coming to the 3rd. These are moments to go because we'll catch them up with live pictures in just a second as they go through to this first combination at 5 ABC. It wasn't an ABC, I don't think, in the Europeans, and this is it here. Gives you a jolly good indication, though, doesn't it, of just how brave the horses are being quite early on. And he's jumped the angled rail, that angled house. So if you think we just saw him at 6, and now he's coming to what is, I think, 17, 18, or 19, I think. 19 and 20. So that's how much we've missed from our camera shots, quite a lot of the course. Lovely big jump there. He was positive, wasn't he? Because the horse suddenly just backed off him 2 or 3 strides out. And Biet said, "No, come on. You know, I'm on a stride here. Trust me. I know it looks big, but trust me." In over the arrowhead. You've got to keep hold of the horse's heads going into the water because the 3 strides to the arrowhead with the little pink flowers on the top is a forward 3, but you don't want to be too open. You want to keep their heads, keep their concentration up to that final fence. So he's just got now 1 fence left to jump. And over that final fence to complete. So Dana and London Blue, 6:32, completes on 54.0. We'll go into fourth or fifth. Just leaving the start box. This is second team rider for Italy, Luisa Pali, 41 dressage, rides Mary Rose. Mary Rose, an Italian sport horse, 9-year-old mare by Indoctro and owned by Cerci Pietro Gavini. And they're at the milk bar now. Luisa rode at the World Equestrian Games in Aachen back. No, they didn't. She was gonna go, I think. That's right. It didn't quite happen. Very, very clever footwork there. Just patted the ground and said right and got up in the air over that, and then they disappear. So that is a part of the course. Maybe the cameras weren't working because that is a new part of the course that we haven't seen, and that's again some big jumping out there on the far end. They're about to come to two angle brushes under the trees, and if I remember rightly, as they come round here, I thought there was a fairly big table. Might not be where I think they are. Just trying to see as they cross over. Oh, they're coming back into the main part of the track now. So she will be about to jump. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? It is a bar table, isn't it? Maybe those cameras weren't working this morning. Yeah, so just jumping that table. And then she'll come across again. So we're just keeping up. It's interesting that we now have got new pictures, and it's great because we can see a lot more now. So onto the white rails. She was literally where I thought she was. So just about to come into the water, second last water. Nicely ridden, really nicely ridden. Again, another one. You'll see people take lines, different lines to that fence. Inside line, outside line, depends on what you're sat on. And Mary Rose picked up that fence, knew exactly where she was going, and was fabulous. Whoa, but a little bit spooky there. Now, will she use quick thinking here and go long? For me, I would, because I would have wanted a much better jump there. She has. That's very good cross-country riding. Good on you. When you have a jump like that and the horses either lose a bit of confidence, don't give you the best of jumps, you want to say to yourself, right, look, okay, that going the straight route here might just knock a wheel off the cart, so we want to be safe here. And she's only a 9-year-old mare. She's still quite inexperienced. She's done a couple of 4 stars, maybe one in her career. You want them to get home. And again here, she's being jolly sensible. She's taking the longer route. She's giving this horse time. She's giving her the confidence to get home. And to get home, hopefully problem-free. But no, they didn't. They had a refusal at 9B. And that's the fence that we haven't seen. We don't see 9B. We know that Lino Paparella had a run out at 9A. We know now that Luisa Pali and Mary Rose had a run out at 9B. So, try and find out what that is. I did get sent a course list, course map, not a map, a list of fences, pictures, but we didn't really know what we were following. 116.10, 10th place. Well, Melanie Yona is now away with Bleu de Gruyère at the second. Dressage score 33.1 in 12th place. Good dressage for them on the first day. Jumping the milk churn bar. That says that she's at 6 minutes and 10 seconds. So is this now at the last? Oh, so we saw her jump 1, 2, 3, 4, and 23. So they've completed 6 minutes and 17. And I think they're clear. So Blinken, you missed Melanie Jonas. If you wanted to see her, I'm sorry. That was clearly a few moments ago. So they will complete clear jumping. She was the second team rider out for Switzerland, so I'm surprised they didn't show more of her being a home rider. As we go back to now Nina Schultz. Nina Schultz with Grand Prix I West. These two were in Le Moulin, another course that Mike Etherington Smith builds. Mike and his wife Sue. Sue's usually at every event with him, and they live just down the road from me actually in the UK. Got a lot of time for Mike. He's a very, very good course designer, and he designed here at the European Championships last year. He's designed Olympic Games. He's designed Le Moulin 5-star. He's just a great designer in my eye. Has a real feel for the topography and to put fences where they naturally should be. And actually, if you watch Ian Stark's tracks and Mark Phillips, Captain Mark Phillips' tracks as well, being former riders, and Mike was, as well as Captain Mark, as well as Ian Stark. You know, a lot of these designers were former riders in their day, and it really shows. You see Ian designing tracks that are very much on the forward. Well, that was how he rode. That was how also his horses liked to go, whether he liked it or not half of the time. He was an incredibly brave man on the cross country. Still is. He's still eventing. He was out the other day. And it's great to see people adapting to tracks and people adapting to courses as well. As Melanie Yona and the Bleu de Gruyère. Nice jump at that fence. Hardly saw that fence. And she, I'm sure, no, she is going long too. That is interesting. And a team rider. Wonder if that is team orders for. Sorry, it's Nina Schultz, the German rider. Nina Schultz and this horse. Was that team orders to go long with Grand Prix West? 15-year-old by Berghoff's Grafenstolz, owned by Gerhard Mayer. May have been. You know, we want to get these horses home. And Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P, the first of the German riders, got round safely. But if you're ever in any doubt, the best thing to do is to trust your gut, trust your instinct. Ride with feel. So just joining us on the course now is Sebastian Cavaillon with the beautiful grey. This is Cochina Blue Z, the 10-year-old mare by Compagnon de Bavot, owned by Hilaire Azema Prezemes. Another one we see jump 1, 2, 3 and then go on to jump into the second last water with Will We Wonder Pony aboard, galloping around this for Hannah Francis. So as he comes back to this fence, he again has gone outside, and I said we'd see horses go inside, we'd see horses go outside. As he comes to the open ditch and rail, he is coming on to jump this corner, sees a good stride a long way out, as you would expect with the experience that he has under his belt. He's a very experienced rider, a lovely rider to watch on the cross country. And I mean, a man that, you know, you don't ever really worry about. I mean, he sits in very good balance, gives the horses lots of time to assess and read what's in front of him. And he goes to the second last and just the one fence left to jump. The time 6:06. He's already clocking up the time penalties. He is clear though, and he is riding as a team rider with this 10-year-old. So the last team rider to go in that second rotation. And we'll see what that does to the scores after the cross-country with two riders. I can tell you that it is not updating. So, as soon as it does update, I'll bring you scores. This is now Quilat 3253, Albert Hermosa Faras, 13-year-old grey by Qatar de Plat. But there are the standings: 101.6. France out in front, 105. They've extended their lead by a tiny margin. Switzerland third, Italy fourth, but it is still very close there. Time penalties are going to be the definite factor here today. That was great to have those scores up. Then it's confirmed 101.6 France after the cross country with two riders gone. Quilanta 3253, Albert Hermosa Faras. Two rides. He's got two horses in the Four-Star Nations Cup here in Avenches. He comes later on with his second ride. Keen about Wonderland Z. And he's already into his 5th minute, so he's making his way back to the white rails. It's such a shame we don't have more pictures over on that far side. We know that the cameras are there. They must be having technical issues, and that's the real downside of live sometimes. I'm not quite sure why we haven't. I've got no communication, so I don't know. Ooh, he was lucky. He doesn't think he jumped the right side. Now that is interesting. So Albert Hermosa Faras is going back to retake that fence because he doesn't think he deemed himself the right side of the flag on the left, the white flag. It'll be interesting to see that again if that's possible. But I don't know. I mean, you know, from this angle, it was very hard to say. Very hard. He's gone outside. Just waste a couple of seconds, not much. He'll be disappointed with that, and it has come up now as a run out. So he did pick up the 20 penalties at the C element of 16. We don't see them until 15 from 6, really, but more from 5. So there's from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We don't see them. Big jump at the open corner over the ditch. Big jump. It's actually not, when I say open corner, it's a wide corner. It's filled in on the top, so should the horses have a bit of a sticky jump, they will bank that fence. So safety is paramount for both horse and rider. Nicely into the water, jumps the blue and white striped boathouse in the middle, and it's just now got the one fence left to jump. Two fences left to jump, this box and then the final fence. Perfect weather conditions, 22 degrees out there. So as Albert Hermoso jumps the fence at the final fence at 23. 81.9, 20 jumping and a few time faults there for the Spaniard. As we now go back up course to Jasmine Gambrasio and Tempo de l'Orme at the second. Tempo de l'Orme with a dressage score of 35.5. 15-year-old by Diams de Grasset, owned by Jasmine, Doris Weidman and Elizabeth Ritz. Three, four. I think we just saw her jump it. The screen wiped just as we saw that. So that was at 5C in her first minute, and now we're at fence 15 in her fifth. And she is still clear all the way. Hugely important, this leg of the Nations Cup. Team Sweden are out in front after 3 legs on 220. Italy second, 175. New Zealand third on 140. We started off in Pretoni del Vivaro in Italy, onto Houghton Hall in Great Britain, and then Strigom in Poland. This leg 4, and then we move Wagons Roll onto Aradapa, Enfield, Bremont, Ballindenisk in Ireland, and then Buccolo for the finals. There's Giulia Gambrasio and Tempo de l'Orme. Big jump. That will have given her the confidence to make this turn round and now jump the corner. Left-handed corner over a very big ditch. Yeah, super. I mean, never in doubt. I mean, the little horse just ears pricked and said, yep, I know where I'm going on. So, as Jasmine Gambrasio comes onto the water for the final time, is pricked, locked on. And jumping the box table fence at the penultimate 22. And she goes on to the final fence. Stops the clock and we'll pick up a few times. 63.9 she goes on to. A time of 7 minutes and 16 seconds. It was clear. Away from the start is the Italian. This is a ride for Roberto Riganelli, riding Jakarta de Mansi. Jakarta de Mansi, Self Jose, 9-year-old mare by Nuba Batili. 37.9 dressage, 27th after the first phase. So this is at the 4th and 5th, 5A, B, C. Far right, fighting, jumps that. So that's at 5A, B, C. And now we come into the 5th minute. This will be to 15. And I can tell you, unfortunately, he did also have a run out at 9B. I'm going to find out 9B. Jumping into the water. and out. So just going to try and find out what 9 is. 3, 4, 5. Typically, I think it is that fence down at the corner. Big jump. BC 9AB 7A. See these pictures don't actually match up because I've got on here 8AB, 8A, 8A, and we don't have an 8A. We have an 8. So these pictures that I've been sent, sadly, don't make any sense. It goes 6, then it goes. In fact, that's not even. I don't know, but I think it's down at that fence at 9B. Is the corner after the log, and you run downhill to a right-handed corner over a bit of a ditch. It does say on the pictures that I've been sent it's an 8, but I think they're old pictures and it's a 9. For sure. And I think that's where we're having the problems. So he completes 20 jumping, few time penalties. Away from the start, and we go to Pierre Dionisi with Takamaru van Mozed coming to the third. And we then pick them up later on. He's already coming round. He's going to go to jump the outside line. He also picked up 20 penalties at 9A, Pierre Dionisi. So that is 20 penalties. We missed that. He picks up the 20 there as well. Yes, just been reminded that Mike ES, also the course designer, and then falls into the open ditch. So I'm afraid that will be elimination for them. On our screen it says a refusal, but I think that's slightly more than. And he may have picked up a refusal coming out of the water as well, because that's at fence 19. So I think he did pick up 20 penalties there and then ran into the open ditch. So it's 20 penalties at the fence before. It's then a full and elimination jumping into that ditch. It's a horrible moment because you know your horses end on that as well. So that is a sad end to their day. Away from the start, this is Desiree Schmidt for Switzerland with Fairy Tale B. And they're coming down to the milk bar, and then that first a proper test. It is at the 5th, 5A, B and C. In over the A, keep your eye line on the C, and keep it. Oh, you could just see the horse not really knowing exactly where they were going. Quite a long rein. I mean, you can ride on a long rein, but you've got to ride with the conviction. So we pick up them now as they come back into view and about to jump over the white fence at 15, I think it is. Yeah, just to be reminded, because I mentioned that Mike ES designed here. He's designed Olympic tracks. He's designed all around the world. He designed Lemulin. He designed Blenheim. Did design Blenheim. He doesn't design Blenheim anymore. That is not his event anymore, I'm afraid. He designed it many years ago, but he doesn't design Blenheim. That is David Evans that is the course designer now. So, as Desiree Schmidt comes on to this, ooh, another one sticky. I would go long now. I would have gone long. She was brave, and it paid off. But as an individual rider, I would have definitely thought, you know what, that wasn't the nicest of jumps. I want to get home nicely. I want to get home with confidence. A little bit sticky off the floor there, and then sees a good forward stride to those fences. The horse has still got his ears pricked and looking where he's going, so you know that's great. Or her ears pricked. Sorry, she's a big mare, so she comes on to the final fence.
On avait un événement dans le parcours sur le 5-6. On ajoute le 20 points, 6 minutes 43 le temps. Donc 14 points, pour le temps défensif, ça fait 34,8 sur ce point, plus le résultat.
So just leaving the box, this is Tosca Brambilla, 33.2 dressage, riding Legoland Mood Swing, 33.2 dressage, lying in 14th place after the first phase, coming down to the milk bar at 3. And then this combination, well, not the nicest of jumps over there. Goes middle, coming around, fighting, and jumps it. They've actually, yeah, they jumped that nicely. So they gallop on, and this is that fence now at 9. And this is the first time we've seen it. That is the corner over the ditch. That is what we've been wanting to see all the way over there on the far side of the course. And that is what I've been talking about. They have now jumped that and gone on away. So just to say that sadly on our scores it doesn't say that 8 is a combination. It's 9AB, not 8. That is, I'm sure though, where we saw him have his problem at that fence. But it's great to see different angles, different fences now as we go through this class. And Tosca, well, unfortunately had a run out at that corner. It's been given. Did I miss that? Am I going completely bonkers? It's because I'm trying to do scoreboard, and this I didn't. Well, he's been given 20. whether he came back for a second attempt. This is new again, new pictures. Great to have them right out at the far sides of the track, and then another really nice big fence into the water. And where he jumps in there on that right hand side, there is a longer route on the left hand side. Lovely galloping part of the course. He'll come down to a sort of double of angle brushes, roll top brushes on the 2 strides under the trees, cross over the gallop tracks and the gallop lanes and back into the main part of the cross country. So here he comes onto the box, that little log box. And now he'll turn away from that and go onto the white rail. So he has been given the 20 penalties at 9B. I may have, I don't know, may have missed it. I must have missed it. Or whether we just saw him coming for a second attempt. So onto these white rails before the water, Tosca, Brambilla and Legoland Mood Swing. Holding this very important line in and out. So they've jumped that well. This grey 13-year-old by Kimiro de R. So as she comes towards home, Tosca, just at this open ditch, sit up, wants to see a good stride into it, very keen to jump that Legoland Mood Swing. And now turn right-handed, and now already eyes far right, going the longer route. Discretion certainly better part of valor after having already one refusal, just had a little bit of a slip on the turn. Horses wear studs in their shoes, so if anything should happen, then they've got grip. It's a little bit like footballers' boots. They've got the grip in their shoe, but lose a shoe and you go back to skids, as it were, to very slippery feet. So jumping the last. Away from the start, Fabio Fenicchiotti with Sotogo Georges. Sotogo Georges still going well. That was quite a long time ago. He's now into his 5th minute. So coming to the water, and he is still clear. 3 strides in there. So as he comes and jumps the white-topped roll top. And onto the open ditch. Tosca, Brambilla and Legoland Mood Swing. Ooh, has a good look. Lands on the back of it. Now, Tosca, you want to go long here as well. Oh, no, he's not. He's going straight. Ooh, and they might well get a pass, but when you're on, you know, when you're riding a horse around these courses, you want the horses to be feeling good. You want them to give you a good ride. And, you know, yes, he was clear, but no, he wasn't, in fact. That is in fact, Fabio, isn't it? It's Fabio Vanicchiotti coming home. Sorry, not Tosca Brambilla. It is Fabio Vanicchiotti and Santiago George. Get so confused. They're not out there long enough, and I keep thinking they're much further behind than they are. But he jumps the last. Santiago George, few times, 68.3 goes 12th. But when you jump a fence like that, like he did at the open ditch, you quite like to see them just use their heads, use their noggins, and maybe go a long route just to be safe. Give them confidence. Miss Pepperpot is away. Former Caroline Harris ride with Kevin McNabb for Australia. Anglo-European, Anglo-Arab, 10-year-old by Pippa Mill. 32.0 dressage, 6th after the dressage. So Kevin McNabb goes from 5 to 15, and unfortunately, Kevin, we saw him jump 5. We didn't see him jump 6. He had a refusal at 6A, which is the first rail going. Do you remember? We saw it in the beginning. It's the rail going down to the bullnose. Miss Pepper Pot stopped there. So they've had 20 penalties. We didn't see it at fence 6 because we've been going to from 5 to 15. We have seen fence 6 in the past. We might get a slow-mo. I don't know. But they have been. That is a real shock because this is quite an experienced combination, and Kevin, hugely experienced in the saddle. But he has been given 20 penalties at the rails at 6A, and that is the rails going into that. The brown rails drop down, bullnose arrowhead at 6B. Miss Pepperpot, nice jump there. I would think that they must have met that on a funny stride because it's not the biggest set of rails, but clearly something went awry. You can see that their score has gone from the 32 that it was up now to the 60s with the time faults and the 20 jumping penalties. We'll soon be down to our overnight leader after dressage, Maxime Livieux and Elvis de Uszed, as Kevin McNabb for Australia jumps the last to complete. Oh, he'd be hugely disappointed with that run, especially at that fence. Time 7:05. Goes into 14th place with the 20 jumping and the time penalties. Out of the box goes Casting Bois d'Or and Justine Bonnet, 35.6 dressage. Jumps the first. This is 10-year-old by Diarado. Chaco Blue is the dam sire, owned by Sophie and Justine Bonnet. Coming down to 5. ABC. Brush, Oxa, Hedge. Jumps right of centre. Fighting, but gets there. and then they come on to 6. No, they don't. In fact, we understand Justine had a run out at 6B and has also had 2 run outs at 9A, or 2 refusals at 9A. That's the log on the top of the bank. So that is further disappointment. So that is elimination for Justine Bonnet and casting Boisdor. Elvis de UZ, Maxime Livio, away, 27.7. Overnight leaders, the 9-year-old by Eldorado de Us, owned by Adriana and Canchapom Chevantranon over the 3rd. He approaches this single fence before the 5th, which is a 3-part combination. Got a young horse in 9, so I wonder how he'll be feeling out there on the course, knowing that it's caused a few problems. And word does get back on the street, as it were, back to the lorry park, back to the trucks, and Maxime is an experienced pilot, as in rider, not pilot as in the wingy type, and he will give this. This is 6A and B. This is where Kevin McNabb refused, and then this is where Justine Bonnet ran out. Ooh, chancy little moment there, but he is still clear. Maxime coming. Okay, well, he's right the way round the course. That is Evelina Bertoli for Italy that we've just seen at 5. So she's just on her way. That's the 3rd team rider for Italy going to the 5th as we keep up with our overnight leader. 27.7, 4 minutes 30. Looks like he's definitely got his foot on the accelerator, pedal to the metal as he comes to the white rails. So Miss Pepper Potts, oh, he hit that quite hard. Look behind him too. In over the 2 angles. So they go on, and it's an interesting round. I'm keeping an eye on that clock. 6:06. He's got a minute to get home. And he knows it too. Absolutely flying. So Miss Pepper Potts. Thomas Whittaker started this horse off jumping, and then Caroline Harris took this horse all the way up to 4-star, finishing 3rd at Blenheim in the 8 and 9-year-old class. Kevin rode this horse in Ireland to a placing just outside the top 10 in the 4-star back in June, beginning of June, taking a couple of chances. Ooh, rather stepped over that fence. More question marks. So there's question marks over the fact, did he jump the right side of the flag down at the B element of 6? That's the arrowhead. The ground jury, what they will do is they will straight away put on the penalties. So we had a rider a moment ago, I think it was Alberto Mosa Ferraz, that jumped coming out of the second last water. And this is even, oh, we saw her at 5, now she's back at 1. Jolly well done you, that's really clever. Evelina Bertoli and Quick Joe Quick Joe is faster than you think, because we saw them at 5 a minute ago. So what the ground jury will do is they'll put the penalties on. We saw Alberto Moses Faras have a little drive-by at that fence coming out of the water, the angle brush. And if he was to have carried on and deemed to be inside the flag or outside the flag, and a missed flag, he would have been given 15. If he was to have carried on and not have jumped the fence at all and carried on, he would have been eliminated. But the fact that he went back and jumped it, he was given 20. It's a very difficult, complex rule, but that is the basic guts of it. If you jump a fence and it's a missed flag, but the horse has jumped sort of basically the right side of it, but not quite, then it's a very... You might have to look it up, guys. You have to go onto FEI. It's I'd probably be better to explain it if I had someone with me, or if we saw it from a head-on. It's a little bit like Michael Jung in Aachen. He jumped a fence and was deemed not to jump the right side of it, didn't go back, so he was given 15. There are occasions that you can be eliminated for totally missing the fence, so that's where the fine line area lies. So still clear, Evelina Bordoni and Quick Joe. That question mark is still over Kevin McNabb and Elvis de UZ at 9B. I'm not really sure why. I thought I watched him jump that absolutely fine. It was a bit of a tricky moment, but it wasn't horrific. You can see there Evelina Bordoni going the inside line to that fence under the tree. It was pretty much the same as it was for the European Championships, placed there with the island fences. Many tracks here: 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 2-star short, 3-star short and 3-star long, and 4-star. This is a 4-star short in Avenches. The 2-star doesn't quite go as far out as these guys. She is going the longer route at that corner, and I think that in a team situation is jolly sensible. I think she is definitely used ahead. Is she doing the same thing here? No, she's going direct in over that first arrowhead, keeping a secure seat and thinking where the horses are looking. And that, I think, is another art of cross-country riding, is not only knowing where you're going, but also when you're walking the course, because remember, they haven't done it. This is the first time that they have seen these fences, and they're not walking, they're galloping at speed at them. So you've got to give them all the right indicators to jump those fences. When you put it down like that, you think, actually, these horses are stark raving mad. To gallop round these tracks, having never seen anything like it before in their lives, we as the rider have got to be the guide. We've got to be the GPS. We've got to be the sat-nav that says this is where we're going. And when you're walking the course, find every eventuality. Think of what the horses could spot. Walk your lines, know where you're going, know exactly what you're jumping, where the horses might land, could land, may possibly land, and then ride each of those lines. Don't just ride one and be stuck on it. Walk every line, walk every distance, and be reactive. This is at 5A, B, C. We can see where riders have jumped in different parts of that hedge, and that is exactly why it's that long. There were trees put there in the Europeans to make them go around. So we've gone back from 5 to 15, and Patrick Roeg, 50-50, is continuing his round. 38.9 was his dressage. 50-50, this mare by Philotans, and the Damsire Friedenfurst, owned by Angela Haberli. 50-50. What a great horse for him. It's a little reminder on takeoff. Sometimes you need that. So he comes onto the water, gets a little bit close to the first arrowhead, holds his line, and out over the C element. Patrick Rowe now one fence left to jump with the great 50-50. Rode this horse at Bordoni, didn't go quite to plan. 50-50 out there, but they are now home. He was part of that medal-winning team that took first place in Italy. So 46.1 goes into 6th place. Maxime Livio picked up 6th time. He is on 33.7. He is our leader, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that could go ahead of him. And this is one of them. Finest Fellow and Elena Otto Early for Team Germany. Finest Fellow, 13-year-old. Another one by Filatance and owned by Elena and Katharina Otto Early. At 5, going far right. Hold it. Gives you more time then to come down to this brush shoulder. And we picked them up in their 4th minute. So again, this is a new part of the course because we usually jump to the 5-minute marker, but it's not actually because they're just coming down to this log pile before the white fence that we usually pick them up at. 31.2 is their starting score. They're in 3rd place after the dressage. So as she heads on to across the galloping lanes and also the driving track, there's about 3-4 galloping tracks that they go over. It's a race course, it's a training track. You can see all the different terrains that she's galloping over now. There's grass, there's all weather, there's so many different tracks. There's the outside race track, then the inside, that 1 or 2 back, 3 back, which is the all-weather. That is where they have the driving, racing, harness racing, and then there's more grass tracks. As she comes to the water, Finest Fellow on the 2 strides, pops nicely into the water, and she was very clever there. She was very quick to pick the rein up and just say, actually keep your head high, look where you're going, think about what you're doing before they come onto this fence. I would think Eleanor, knowing the time is tight, will come inside those island fences. She's gone outside, so that was interesting. It's, you know, on a horse like him, who has been very much on the ball, 13 years old, they've got some experience under their belt already, that she might have just gone inside because she's already over the time. So every second counts, and it's a long, long way from here. She's still got a lot of jumping. Oh dear. Well, Eleanor Otto Early and Finest Fellow said no thank you very much to that ditch and corner. So it will be a long route now. Disappointment there. She was lying 3rd. The time was slow. We saw the time. So it was never going to be the quickest of times there for Eleanor. And she'll come to the chicane. I was surprised because he jumped the fence before the corner with confidence. So that would have indicated to me that he was feeling good. But you never know with these horses. Has he ever seen a fence like that? I would suggest possibly not. Ooh, little sticky. Careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Well done. It's easy to run out at either of those fences, in the middle and the out. Just looking a tiny bit tired now, coming towards the last fence, and it's the 20 jumping added with a handful of time penalties as well, and jumps the last. Disappointed. She will be disappointed with that, because you don't go out there to do a bad job. You go out there to do your best. 91.6, so she picks up quite a lot of time faults as well, 7 minutes 47 seconds. Well, we go from Eleanor, she was team rider for Germany. We go to, I hope, Raphael Cochet, away, last team rider for France in the third rotation, riding Difta de Very. 29.4 dressage for these guys, and they were in second place behind Maxime Libiot and Elvis de UZ, who are out in front on 33.7. Coming down to the fence at 5. Hold the line, hold the line. Look at your fence, hold the line, and jumps nicely through there. And then he'll go on to the rails. Oh, no, we're not. We've gone much further round. And I just spotted, he had a refusal run out at 6B. Oh, that is very, very frustrating for the French team rider, because they've only got one French team rider left to go, and that is Fabrice Santamarie, the last to go in the team standings. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Well done. So he is carrying the 20 penalties from 6B. Will he be brave? Yes. 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Well done. So riding this horse nice and sensibly home. Difta de Very, 9-year-old mare by Harold, owned by Raphael and Earl Avenches de la Louvière. 6:06, 6:47, 48, something like that. Sees him home. And next to go, so 66.6, he finishes off in 15th place. 43 seconds over the optimum time. Well, if we go to pick up Martine Christine now. Martina Christine, 40.5 dressage with crispy 20. Crispy 20. We all like a crispy 20. By Contendro, heraldic lines, owned by C&G Scuderia. Coming down to the third, the Milk Bar, then the next big table at 4 before the first combination fence. That's that big square table at 4. Now down to 5. In over the rush. Well, she's going quite tight. Ooh, not the best of lines. Sit up, sit up, sit up. Ooh, no, not going to get back there. Yeah, she went quite tight, didn't she, to the hedge in the middle. Crispy 20, 13 years old, but for me, it was an unnecessary risk to go on that line. For me, I would have gone on the right to give myself more time to get back to the brush shoulder. Well, we pick her up again, don't need to tell you where, coming on to the log pile, and then the white table. So Martine Christine and Crispy 20 at the White Oxer. And good news for Kevin McNabb. The question mark has been taken away, so he did pick up the 20. We know that at 6A, but has been given clear at the B element, so that is all good news. Maxime Libiot's 6B is still question mark, but as I said earlier, that will stay until they've looked at the video footage. The ground jury, I mean, I'm pretty sure he jumped the right side of it, but We don't know. So coming down to the ditch and wall. It's a big old fence, this. Oh, like it was not even there. And I'd just like to do a shout out once. Oh, she's going long here, so this is a great time to do a shout out to Nicola Wilson. Nicola, we're sending you lots of love. Progressing in hospital. You were the European champion here back in September last year at the European Championships, individual European champion and team gold medalist as well in the team with JL Dublin. We're sending you lots and lots of love. Caroline March as well, sending you lots of love, as well as Josh Moore, who's making a brilliant recovery, the jockey who sustained a fall back in, I think it was February. So Josh, we're sending our very best wishes to you as well, and I'm sure from all of our viewers. Living a little bit dangerously, coming through the final water, Martina Kristin and Crispy 20, as they go on to this final fence now. Maxime Livio, his question mark has gone. So that is good news. The question mark has gone at 6B. So he is clear, and the ground jury have viewed the video and said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Home, 119.3. So there was a few penalties. It was the 20 jumping at 5C, and then time to add there for Martina Kristin and Crispy 20. Keep walking. Well, it was a big jump. She's just explaining big jump and then fighting. But I think a big jump on the far right-hand side, you'd have had more time to get back to jump that. She may watch that back and just have a look at that and see exactly what you're doing. So when you jump off, it's quite nice then to undo the girth and roll your stirrups up. Oh, there is a sad sight. That is Alberto Moser Varas and Keenabat Wonderland Z. They had 3 refusals at 6B. That was the bullnose arrowhead coming down the hill. So that is a very sad end to the day for Keenabat Wonderland Z, 8-year-old, very young, by Kanan. They had a good dressage of 33, but that put pay to their day very early on at 6B in Avenches. We go to Sébastien Cavaillon now with his second ride. This is Ellipso de la Vigne, 34.6 dressage. So Francais by Arco, the great Arco. And by Sébastien himself and Ludovic Filatre. Ellipso de la Vigne coming to 5. Wilbury Wonder Pony strapped on board. Ooh, fighting all the way. He there, you see, that's the difference. He went far right, gives you more time. We saw Martina Kristin get back and complain about that fence, that, you know, she jumped big over it and then was fighting. But actually, if you jump the right-hand side or right of centre, more right of centre, and you have a big jump, it gives you more time to come to that brush shoulder. Just going one extra stride out could mean a clear to a 20, and that's what makes the big difference. So again, we missed all of that middle part of the track. We know there are cameras there, but they've clearly got problems with them, because we've seen 1 or 2 horses jump 9A and B, which has been a problematic fence, and we know that there's cameras at 6 because we've seen horses jump 6. I just don't know why we're not getting them, but we're not. And that's the, you know, that's what it is. Sébastien Cavaillon and Ellipso de la Vigne coming around this turn. He has taken his foot a little bit off the accelerator, and I'm wondering why. I know that she is only He is only 8, Ellipso. So that may be the reason, just looking for nice rounds. You know, I think it's quite energy zapping, the topography here, crossing over those lanes. When you've jumped 6, 7, there's a pull up to 8. Here are the standings. Well, it's all changed, and I said it would. Switzerland now out in front. Home nation. Home nation now out in front. It's been a big change around. France were the leaders after dressage. They were leaders after 2 riders, but it's all changed again. So Sebastian Cavagno coming to the water. Yeah, going back to the courses and then jumping 9A, 9B on the bank, down to that corner. Then you go back out across and right out to the far side of the track. And more uphill, down dale, mounds, real thinking part of the track. And it tires the horses out, it really does. And I would say that, you know, this is an 8-year-old and he's giving it a peach of a ride. Might be a minute over the optimum time, but that doesn't matter because they'd definitely be thinking more to the future. That is not Susanna Bordoni. That is Sebastian Cavagno. So I apologise. This is now Melanie with GB Keep Cool de Pouchet, 32.5 the dressage, representing Switzerland. So that was Sebastian Cavagnon just completing as Melodiona, and GB Keep Cool de Pouchet, 11-year-old by GB Kunvali, coming down to 5. She goes there. This is the line. Gives you the time, gives the horses enough time to read that fence. So from 5 we go back to 15. I can also tell you that Melody also picked up, we need a camera down there, don't we? She also picked up 20 penalties at 9B as well. That was the corner down at the bottom of the hill. They've got one there. Why have we not used it? Why have we not seen more of it? We just seem to be getting the beginning and the end and not that middle where they're having the trouble at 6, at 9. That's a real shame. That is a real shame. But it is, as I said, it is what it is. Don't keep moaning, don't keep complaining. So I won't. As Melodiona comes back towards the ditch. And eyeing up that corner as if it were just a little exercise at home, and absolutely the crowd cheering there. Given this horse the confidence, hasn't she, to get home. And on to the final fence. And 69.7, 6:49, so it's 43 seconds over for Melodiona. And with that refusal, it's not bad at all, is it? Because she did pick up the 20 at 9B. We go down to our final 5, and it is now Susanna Bordoni. She was first out this afternoon with Imperial von der Holdackers. She's now riding Boulevard Giograno. Boulevard Giograno, 11-year-old by Giograno, owned by Maria Giovanna Mazzocchi. At the 3rd, dressage 31.5, lying in 5th place. 31.5 could still go into the lead It is held by Maxime Livio and Elvis de Uzed on 33.7. So he's still got 3 that could go ahead of him. The time has not been achieved yet. It could be. So she cut. Oh, we've done that again. So just coming down to 14:15. Susanna Bordoni, per Italia. We've got 4 left to go, and they're all team riders for Italy, Switzerland, Germany, France. And it's very, very tight in the team standings. 1:15.3 Switzerland, 1:18.5 France, 1:32 Germany, 1:41 Italy. Anything can happen. We've seen that. Well, just about to come around the turn. She looks like she's going inside, yeah, tight line, and jumps across. Ooh, no! Well, we'll bring you news on Susanna as soon as we can. Good to see that Bolivar Giograno was up quickly. It looked like quite a heavy fall. A lot of these riders wear air jackets, and some implode, some explode, and it just depends on what type of jacket you're wearing, if you're wearing one, but most do these days, and they can really wind you. So we hope that she is absolutely fine, and as soon as we hear, then we will bring you news. We understand, I don't think we'll see any more of this combination in Fosco Girardi. He is the final team rider for Italy. Euphorie. They have in fact been held out on course. There is that flag. He is stopped at 14, and we also have. Are we going back to 6? Oh, we're not. There is the Italian. He is held up there, Fosco Girardi, with Euphorie at 14. In fact, I think he might. Is he going back to get underway again? Or just getting out of the sunshine? Not sure. Lovely breeze there. He'll just keep walking this horse around. I can also tell you that in real time, Robin Goodell has also been stopped out on course. He's a little bit behind Fosco, Robin Goodell, and Grandeur de Lully, the winners of Pretending del Vivaro, and on a good score of 31.7. He's fast, he's quick, he's also held. He's held at fence 10 out on the cross country. Well, great scenes here from Avenches. Crowds enjoying the Swiss sunshine. And the leaderboard at the moment, it is Maxime Livio, leaders after dressage. This is fence 9. Okay, this is what we've been wanting to see for all day. And that looks like it could be Robin Goodell and Grandeur de Lully. That is what we've been wanting to see all day. There are cameras out there. And that is Grandeur de Lully. What a shame we haven't seen that fence, because there's been so many problems throughout the day. It would have just been brilliant. So just trying to find out news if we can on Susanna Bordoni, who took that rather heavy fall at the little angled house. There is Fosco, Girardi and Euphorie. Did a super test. Couple of mistakes. 10-year-old mare by Cillian. That is Robin Godel. He is held, this young man. He's held at fence 10. So how this works now, for those that aren't au fait or familiar with the stop process, is that these riders are held at fairly innocuous fences, hopefully straightforward fences that the controller has picked out around the course. For example, Fosco Girardi is held at 14, Robin Godel is held at 10. So those fence judges will have stop markers out on course. They will wave the flag. When those riders go past that point, they will stop the clock. Once they're given permission to get underway again, the riders go back down the course, gallop and get back up to full event speed, go past that marker again, and the fence judge will press their clock again. That time that they've been held for will be taken away from their overall time out on the course, and that will then give them time proper. So the time that they were held is taken away from the time that they left the start box, the time that they finish the cross country and go through the finish flags, and that will give them then a time proper out on the cross country. That's how that works. We've got two horses held in Fosco Girardi and Euphorie, and Robin Godel Grandeur de Lully at 10, and Fosco is held at 14. As soon as we get any news, we will let you know. It's difficult not being there. It's difficult not having any communication with the event whatsoever. This is the wonder and the marvel that is the new technology, meaning that we can do these things remotely. We can sit wherever and commentate on horse trials. I've commentated on horse trials from my office at home in the UK on the likes of Le Moulin, 5-star, dressage, Grand Prix dressage in Rotterdam, anywhere around the world. And I'm lucky enough to be able to commentate on Avenches in Switzerland from an office in the United States of America. I'm actually just outside Atlanta in Georgia right now, which is, I started the cross country at 6:45, so 7 o'clock this morning. The first horse went out at 1 o'clock CEST, which was 12 o'clock BST, which was 7 o'clock American time. So I was up nice and early, and I did the same last weekend in Aachen, managed to do the dressage. That started at 1:30 in the morning here. And then the show jumping cross country morning was the same. It started at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. I think it might have actually started at 3:30. 3:30 it started. Finished at about 7, and then I started commentating here in the States at 8:30, 9 o'clock. First horse on the cross country here in the States. Last horse went at 6:30 in the evening, and I was on my own all day for that little violin playing. But it's amazing what we can do now, and amazing that we are lucky enough to talk about these events and be able to commentate all around the world. Well, we'll bring you news on Susanna Bordoni just as soon as we can. She will be looked after first-class care, that is for sure, after that fall from her horse, the horse that she was riding, Bolivar Giagrano. The news is that he is absolutely fine, and we're just waiting for Susanna because it was a heavy fall. Bolivar Giagrano, the 11-year-old by Giagrano, is got up very quickly, but we're just waiting news. And it's just the right-hand side of your screen now, that fence that she fell at. This is the current leaderboard so far. It is Maxime Libio, Elvis de Us Z, 33.7 out in front. Cérélie Lefebvre and Armagno Sarosa in second, 36.5. Although, yeah, they are in second. Melody Yona and De Bleu de Gruyère, 37.5 in third. It is France 1-2, Switzerland 3, Germany's Anna-Katharina Vogel in fourth. Don't know what's happened to the bottom half of that screen again. Could have left it a little bit longer. Fourth is Anna-Katharina Vogel, TSP Quintana P on 41.8. Fifth, Susanna Bordoni, Imperial von der Hultdrakers for Italy, 41.9. And in fifth, Patrick Roeg for Switzerland, 50-50 on 46.1. 2.8 is the fastest time that we've seen on the cross country. That was Cyril Lefebvre and Armando Sarossa. 2.8 time for them. So no one's made the time. Switzerland out in front in the team, as I said a few seconds ago, 115.3. France second, and that's where it is very, very close. France second on 118.5. So it is still very much to play for. We go down to these last four riders. Two of those team riders are held out on course. Fosco Girardi and Robin Goodell, one for Italy, one for Switzerland. With then at the start, we saw pictures of her moments ago with Heike Janka and Mighty Spring, and then Fabricia Santamarie will be last to go with César de Roy. Well, great scenes of the fabulous Institute Equestrian at Avenches, which hosted those European Championships last year, 2021. An amazing competition from start to finish. And it was Britain's day. It was a win for Nicola Wilson and JL Dublin, taking the individual gold as well as the team gold as well. And the team consisted of Nicola with Dublin, Peggy March, Brookfield Innocent, Kitty King, Vondredi Biats, and Ros Cantor All-Star B. Germany second, Sweden were in third at those European Championships. Great Britain have got the biggest number of medals at the Europeans, 42 golds in all. And those European Championships, they started all the way back in 1953 when the need for a championships came up, and it was at badminton back in 1953. Great Britain's team of Frank Weldon. Who was on the team then? 53. I mean, I know I wasn't born, and I should know this. Frank Weldon, Bertie Hill, and Frank Weldon, Bertie Hill, Reg Hindley. They were the team. Goodness me, I very nearly forgot that. Just racking the brain. Britain have done so well all through the years at Europeans. We've had teams, individuals. It's certainly last year was a unique year in the fact that we had the Tokyo Games, and then just a few weeks later the European Championships for dressage, jumping, and eventing. So it was so unique to go to the European Championships for the dressage and then go to the European Championships here in Avenches for the eventing. It was a real treat, actually. I didn't go to Tokyo. I've never done an Olympic Games. I've done European Championships. I'm doing both the World Championships for dressage and the World Championships for eventing this year in Herning and in Bretoni. But I've never done Olympic Games. Lucinda Green was out in Tokyo commentating on the cross country, and also then did the commentary with me in Avenches for the European Championships. And you know, herself even said it was just such a special year to see the calibre of horse and rider that we saw there, and that we saw not only in Tokyo, but we also then saw in Avenches as well, and it was an amazing 12 months. And for me, watching the Olympic Games, I actually did some wrap-up programs for a TV company after, you know, medal ceremonies and things, and to watch the dressage, to watch the show jumping, and to watch the eventing, and to see how amazing that was. I mean, it was very early hours, wasn't it? If you were in the UK, it was very early hours to stay up and watch. But well worth it. And then to go to the European Championships and see that as well. It was just a remarkable year, and to see the riders, to see Great Britain come away with a team gold, individual silver at the Tokyo Games, and then a team gold, individual gold, silver and bronze at the European Championships, when we had a 1-2-3 for the girls. It was just a complete wash. Nicola picking up the team gold, Piggy March and Brookfield Innocent the individual silver, and then Sarah Bullimore and Cora Way picking up the team individual bronze. So individual honours, gold, silver, bronze, and then gold for Brits as well. It was just so special to be part of it, and it's one of those pinch me moments. It really is. Well, Susanna Bordoni is being attended to by the doctors and medics in Avenches after parting company. I'll have a quick run down that leaderboard again. And it is Maxime Liviot. They led after the dressage on 27.7, added 6 time penalties to their dressage score. They now lie on 33.7 in first place. In second, it is Sergio Lefebvre and Armagno Sarrosa on 36.5. In third, Melanie Yona for Switzerland, Tobleu de Rouillère, 37.5. In fourth, Anna Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P, 41.8 in fourth place. And in fifth, it is Susanna Bordoni with her first ride, Imperial von der Hultakers, on 41.9. So we're just waiting with that hold on course. Any news that we do get, we will bring you. And it will be back underway. We've got 2 horses held out on course, with Fosco Gerardi held at 14 and Robin Goodell, Grandeur de Lully, they're held at fence 10. So just had a message come in. Am I going to Bretoni? Yes, I am going to Bretoni del Vivaro for the World Championships. I thought I said that, I may not have done. But yes, I am. I'm going to the World Championships in Herning for the dressage. And then I will be going, that's in August, and then I'll be going to the World Championships in Bretoni del Vivaro. And good news is that I've been fighting for a co-commentator for the World Championships, and I thought, well, who could we get? And in the end, I fought, and I got my pick. And it was great, so I'm going to have a very, very good commentator with me as we just continue this hold here in Avenches. And that was following the fall of Susanna Bordoni. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I said I was commentating on the World Championships. I'm going to Herning, and I'm going to Bretoni. And all I can tell you, I'm not going to give it away, because I think it's quite nice to have a surprise and keep some things under your hat. Those World Championships that started back in 1966. First World Championships were at Burghley back in 1966. Great Britain won, team and individual. I am going to tell you that my co-commentator for the World Championships. I'm going to word this carefully. My co-commentator for the World Championships at Pratoni del Vivaro is a previous world champion. And I think that's quite a nice way of saying it, because it doesn't say whether they are male or female, but they have been a former world champion. So I think we're lucky in whoever we get, and or whoever we've got, actually. And it'll be great. I'm very much looking forward to it. I've got some very good co-commentators for Herning as well, and I'm not going to give that away because one is female and one is male, and they are both jolly brilliant. So looking forward to that. It's going to be great fun. I might be staying out there to do, which I've done before, is commentate on the para dressage as well, which will be even more exciting. Well, we're just on this hold at the moment. As I said, I will bring you any news as soon as I can. I've been watching what you've been watching, and I have had zero communication whatsoever. I know there's a TV crew there. I know that cross country starts at 1 o'clock in Avenches, and I know that I click on this broadcasting platform up to half an hour before. It could be shorter, but I'm always ready half an hour before we go live. So that is all I know. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who's on site. No one has texted me in and said it's going to be 5 minutes, it's going to be 10 minutes, it's going to be half an hour. I have no idea. All I do know is that it's now 9:03 in the United States, which means it is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It is now 3 o'clock, 3:03 in Avenches. Which means we've been on hold for about 20 minutes at the moment. I can just hear that. I just heard the on-course commentator. I think. I don't know. I think I did. I might be making that up. They've given up. They're not saying anything. There is walking around. That is Fosco Girardi. I mean, you are allowed at this point to get off, and if you've had a long hold, you're also given permission. It has to come from the ground jury, but you're given permission to jump off your horse and walk around. But the permission thing, as I was about to explain, is that you can go and jump another fence. So that fence there, per se, if you want to jump that as a warm-up fence, you can, if you've been held for that long, because when you've been held for quite a long time, it's quite difficult to get the horses back into a rhythm and brains thinking forward all the time. So you are allowed to ask the fence judge, can I jump a fence before I get going? And the ground jury, along with the technical delegate, who is Gilles Blanc, they will find a fence, decide what fence you can jump. There is Robin Goodell and Grandier de Lully just walking around as well. And as I said, as soon as we hear any news, then we will bring you that. We are back underway. That is great news. Great news. So we might not hear how Susanna Bordoni is, because no one even texted me to say how long the hold was going to be. Zero communication. But we kept going. Well done, and thanks for those that did text in. the likes of Amanda and Roxy. You've been great supporters, so thank you very much. You've been keeping me entertained and asking questions, and that's what that time is for. But we're back underway now with Fosco Gerardi and Euphorie. They're coming round to the water. Jump these two angled houses on the two strides beautifully in, and that was really nicely done. This horse now will get a bit of a second wind as they kick on. Well, just about to come to the last then, and it is clear all the way for Fosco Gerardi and Euphorie.
Et donc, Susanna Bordoni qui a été évacuée et qui est à l'hôpital par l'équipe médicale. On espère que tout ira bien pour elle. On est d'ores et déjà un établissement ensuite de santé.
And this is just at the water. Fosco Gerardi and Euphorie coming through that water. Such a good round, and this is where experience really shows. Coming onto that final fence, brilliant round for him. Very, very well done in difficult circumstances. And jumps the last. Very, very good job. And that time will be adjusted pretty shortly. So he is home. Now that he is home, the ground jury will say, along with the controller, we'll now get the next underway, which is Robin Goodell. So he will be restarted. He is held at fence 10. And as soon as he's restarted, I would think 10. Yeah, he will. As soon as Robin's started, Heike Janka and Mighty Spring will get underway. She's held at the start, just not being able to get away. And they'll be asking, he'll be saying, you know, how is, Fosco will be asking, how is Susanna? How is Susanna? Teammates and very close team they are as well, the team from Italy. Robin Goodell, here he is. We didn't see him anywhere around the course. We saw that he was held at fence 10. We know there's a camera down there, but we haven't seen any pictures. Coming on to the white oxer, that is at 15, and he is still clear all the way. Heike Janka is about to get underway away from the start, the last rider from Team Germany with Mighty Spring. But this man, 31.7, could go into the lead. Now, he is on an absolute high, riding the crest of a wave. I mean, talk about riding the crest of a wave. He won in Pretoni d'Avevaro with Grandier de Lully. He was part of the Swiss team that won as well. An amazing performance from this young man, and I would say he's on for a good position here as well. 31.7, he could go into the lead. He's had that hold on course. So what that does, quite often at fence 10, he's jumped 9 fences. So he would have been approaching his 3rd minute. And he will have said then, right, okay, I've been held now for 15, 20 minutes. I can afford, that is where Susanna had her fall. He can say, actually now, Grandier de Lully has filled up the lungs again, had a bit of a refresh, and can gallop home a little bit fresher than a lot of the other horses that have had to run the entire six minutes. He has had a break. He has now got this lovely opportunity, lovely feeling of a slightly fresher horse coming home. Don't take any unnecessary risks, though. That is when the mistakes can slightly start happening. So Robin Goodell and Grandier de Lully coming into the final water, 2, 3, and then picking up that arrowhead coming out. 2 fences left. It'll be fascinating to get an eye on his clock. We're not going to get that because it's the altered time that is the factor here. So the held time will be what is taken away. It takes a few moments, not that long, but it's just the communication between fence judge and officials. And he crosses the line, hardly sweating after that hold. So Robin Goodell and Grandier de Lully, what a round for them. Could he take the lead away from Maxime Livio, who picked up 6th time out there on the cross country? We will know very, very shortly. Heike Janka waiting down at the start. I must admit, I would have thought she would be away by now that Robin Goodell has finished. We've got 2 left, 1 for Germany, 1 for France. And Switzerland in the team are out in front. That score will be an important one for Team Switzerland. So you can see they've undone the girth so that the horse can breathe, expand the chest, and get the air back into their lungs. Recovery is as important as warm-up. So as we warm the horses up and get their muscles nice and warm, we then want the horses. There is Andrew Nicholson, the team trainer for the Swiss team. The maestro, Mr. Stickability himself. And saying well done to Robin Goodell and Grandier de Lully, another fantastic performance for them. I mean, look at this in strength and depth, and we look towards those World Championships in Pratoni del Vivaro come September. You know, it makes their jobs a lot easier, that is for sure. I don't think Heike is out on course yet. I think she is still, for some reason bizarre, she's at the start. But whether they just want to get these held horses home, I don't know. Producer extraordinaire has messaged in from FEI Media House, Phil Jennings. After I'd said live on air, there's obviously a bit of a delay, but after I said live on air that Fosco Gerardi and Euphorie had started cross country, they jumped about 3 fences. I had a message in from Phil from FEI Media House. Great guy. I mean, talk about fun and laughter. Phil said, holds over, and I went, oh, okay. And I thought he was taking the mickey out of me, but I think he was actually being quite serious. He was trying to help me out, but it was a bit too late because the horse had already restarted. But that's the way it goes. We keep laughing, we keep smiling, and I know that it is now what time is it? 3:15 in Avenches. And we're about half an hour behind because Mighty Spring and Heike Janka were supposed to start at 3:45. And there she is down at the start. I'm not sure why they've held it for so long. There must be a good reason, but we'll try and find that out as well. I doubt we will, but we'll try. Mighty Spring, 12-year-old mare by Mighty Magic, owned by Heike Janka and Carsten Kust. She is walking around with, is that the start box area? I think it is. Yes, it is. There's the start box. There's the finish line. So it should be our penultimate combination. So yes, it's now 3:15. Exactly in Avenches, half an hour exactly behind with that hold on course. I didn't talk for half an hour, did I? I mean, I could talk the hind legs off a donkey. I surprise myself sometimes. Once I've finished here, with 2 horses left to go, first horse on the cross country here in the USA is at 10 o'clock. So I will, as soon as the last horse is gone, hot-footed out of here and go on to the cross country and start commentating here in America as well, all day. It's jolly warm here as well. It's about 33, 34 degrees. So Heike Janka about to get herself underway then with Mighty Spring. Still not really aware of this hold. No, no one knows, no one's messaged. And they're still not letting her go. I mean, she's having a trot round now. She must have been given a rough time, as in not a rough time, but a guide time as to when she was going to go, because she's still keeping moving. But that is what is important when, as a rider, is to keep them moving. Just had maybe the fence needs repairs. Well. It may be, but Robin Godel and Grandier de Lully jumped that fence. So if it needed repairs, I would have thought they would have done that before Robin jumped it. And I didn't think that. I mean, they hit it, but they didn't hit it hard enough. I don't think hit it hard enough. It was just the way she jumped it on the angle that took the left shoulder and turned them. But if fence repair needed to be done, I thought they would have done that in the half an hour that they were held and made it safe for then Robin Godel to jump it, because actually, they both jumped it. Robin Godel and Fosco Girardi jumped it because they were both held before that fence under the trees. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. And there we all were thinking you were on holiday. No, certainly not. Tomorrow the same. Tomorrow is show jumping. We'll be bringing you all that live action, and also I've got another full day of cross country here as well, because we're running national classes all the way from what they call beginner novice all the way up to open intermediates. And still no news. I wish. You know, I think we all wish, don't we? We all wish we knew what was going on. And why Heike has not left the start box yet. Whether it's to do with the other reason, of course, is that maybe the emergency... No, they wouldn't have let the other two horses go, because it could have been that the emergency vehicle went off site. But if that was the case, then they wouldn't have let the other two restart, because you've got to have an emergency vehicle on site and available. So that doesn't ring true either. Fence repair, I wouldn't have thought they would have let two horses jump it if it was unjumpable. It's beyond me. It would be lovely to know, but I have no one there. Which event is it in the US? I am at a place. This is Carl Buchart's farm, an estate. It's about 2,000 acres. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's called Chattahoochee Hills, just outside Atlanta in Georgia, near Fairburn. It's a lovely event. It's a beautiful event. And I've been here. I arrived last week on the Thursday evening, commentated on